Hello everyone, in this video we're going to talk about arithmetic sequences. So before we get into what an arithmetic sequence is, let's talk about just what is a sequence. So a sequence is just an ordered list of numbers. So you see 4 or 5 numbers and you can tell there is some operation that is taking me from one number to the next, right? And so then you could use that knowledge to predict or to figure out what the 100th term would be or something like that. Also, the word term just refers to each number in the sequence, right? So the first term would just be the first number that's listed, okay? Each term, and it's recognized by A sub n. So this symbol right here, A with a small n at the bottom, that's a subscript. So we call it A sub n, has a specific position in the sequence. So when we say A sub n is the nth term in the sequence. So if I said A sub 5, then we're talking about the 5th term in the sequence. Okay, so that's what that represents. All right, so let's talk about arithmetic sequence. An arithmetic sequence tells us that the difference between each pair of consecutive terms is the same, and this is called the common difference. Okay, so each term is found by adding the common difference to the previous term. So if we look at our example here, we have 5, 10, 15, and 20. So we can say, okay, we are increasing, right? So our common difference here is 5. And so we're going to add 5 to the next term, right? To figure out what the next term would be. So we could say, okay, the 5th term would be 25, the 6th term would be 30, so on and so forth. Okay, so the cool thing about arithmetic sequences is that we can write an equation to help us solve for really any term we want to find. And so this is what it brings us to. So we have an equation, and we read the equation as A sub n equals A sub 1 plus n minus 1 in parentheses times the common difference. Okay, so A sub n, that's just the nth term. So when we write our equation, that will stay there. It'll just say A sub n equals, and then the first term we will plug in for A sub 1. So we'll just be able to see that in the sequence. You'll be able to tell what the first term is. And then we'll find out what the difference is, right? How are we going from one term to the next? And we'll plug that in, and then we'll just simplify the equation. Okay, so here's our example that we're going to do. We'll leave our equation up here at the top. It says, write an equation for the nth term of the arithmetic sequence 14, 11, 8, 5, and then we have an ellipsis there, right? Those 3 dots, which just means and so on. And then it says, then find A sub 40. So we need to find the 40th term in this sequence, okay? So our equation, we're going to start off with A sub n equals A sub 1 plus parentheses n minus 1 times the common difference. So 2 things that we need to identify from our sequence. The first term, right? A sub 1 is 14. And we need to identify our common difference. So in this case, we are subtracting 3 each time that we move to a new term, okay? And so now we can just take that information and plug it into our equation and solve. So this is still going to be A sub n. Our first term now is 14. Still have the plus sign there. This is still going to be n minus 1, but now our common difference is a negative 3. Okay, and so now we just simplify this. So we'll scroll down a little bit. So we're going to say A sub n equals 14. And now we can distribute this negative 3. So this would be negative 3n and then plus 3. And so now we can do 14 plus 3. So our final equation, we can say A sub n equals negative 3n plus 17. Okay? And that would be our equation for the nth term. And so now we can use that to find whatever term we want in the sequence. In this case, they want us to find A sub 40. So we're going to say, we'll do it over here, A sub 40 is equal to negative 3 times 40 plus 17. So A sub 40, so this is going to be negative 120 plus 17. And that's going to give us a negative 103. Okay, so that tells us that the 40th term in the sequence would be negative 103. All right, and that is arithmetic sequences and how we can look at a sequence, find the common difference, write an equation, and then we can use that to find any term we want in the sequence.